Welcome to the Predictive PlayBook. I hope you all enjoyed that music. Looked like Tony Finn was like meditating there while that was being played. But it's part of my efforts, and as I was telling these guys, Tony, I have I use Adobe Premiere, so I have music in the background, of course. It's a little bit more enthusiastic than what you just heard, but I've taken a screenshot of everybody's profile that has appeared on this show, and every 7 seconds it changes. But the problem is there's, I guess, 18 of them, and yours never seems to like come up in the cycle. So I got to figure out why that's happening.
Who are you speaking to?
I've been saying Tony the whole time, I thought.
Well, you know, I wasn't sure who I was today. That changes from day to day, and if mine's not showing up, it's a conspiracy. It's a government conspiracy. Just that way, I don't show up in the post office. Hell, I don't show up anywhere. It's good.
Oh, it's good you don't show up in the post office. I mean, especially in this day and age, you should, you don't need stamps anymore, Tony.
That's true. Well, I don't show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll come up with something else. Come up with a new line on that one.
And if you're talking about a picture being in the post office, nobody goes there to see it anyway. So
Don't I used to go there just to go see the top 10 most wanted list at the post office wall. It was used to be, some kids grow up want to be police officers, firemen. Something attractive about that top 10 most wanted list.
You aspired to be a fugitive, huh?
Well, yeah. Okay, well, let's leave it at that.
So
milk carton stuff,
We did a special show with Steve Merrill. I only bet with Tony Finn's money.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
You didn't satisfy the minimum requirements.
You'll have to watch the end of the show, Tony, because I, honest to God, could not get what he was trying to get me to say to you, and I don't know if it was a compliment or if it was. He kept calling you public when it came to Bitcoin.
Oh, me?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh yeah, well that makes sense.
Maybe
I mean,
chat room and clarify it.
I'm one of those guys that heads down here to here in Vegas. We have a lot of rebels. They'd be like 7-Elevens or Circle K's, whatever it is. But they have They have Bitcoin ATMs, and I'm one of those public guys that buys the Bitcoin from the ATM. I'm only paying about 30% too much. Don't worry about it. I got it.
Well, now it's you're paying like 130% too much.
Probably so, yeah. Probably so. They're probably yeah.
Very quickly, I will offer this, and I am not a licensed, certified financial planner. Like 20 years ago, I did have some licenses for institutionals, like the Harvard Endowment Fund, for example, and fiduciary trust, those kind of things, but never was on the retail side. So I wanted to make that statement now, that this is just my opinion, but a lot of the guys we know dabble in this stuff. And I was the chief currency strategist, so I'd like to think I do have a little bit of knowledge as it relates to bubbles and, a little bit on the crypto. So I just stick to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has futures. They trade on the Chicago Merc. And this is a candlestick chart. So there's certain patterns that repeat, just like they do in sports. And if you look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days ago, 8 bars, you see a red candle that is bigger than the one that's to the left of it, right? That's called an engulfing candle. That is a sea change event. That is directional change. When those suckers happen, it's not perfect, but when it happens, it's a huge red flag. So no panic in the street yet, right? But sentiment, which we talk about all the time in sports betting, was in the stratosphere for Bitcoin. It was as high as 87, and you can only get up into like 91 because it's impossible to get to 100. But anything north of 75 is a big red flag. And I hope you can see the chart. The candle that happened today is on the far right. Bitcoin this morning traded below 30,000. Last Monday, it was 58,000. That's a loss of 50% in a week.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question. I know quite a few guys who have don't just dabble. They spend their days chasing and miners and just doing their due diligence on this. And I wasn't it, but I want to know something. I was convinced to push in on this. I think it was last September, and I think at that point in time it was 17 or 18,000. So is that accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So this is something. Then I'm not trying to do your job here, but is this something that it would seem to me it would be a regression that was inevitable, right?
Yeah, because if we had too many bulls, we had too many people saying it was going to 200,000, and just throwing the number out there. There was no
Right.
Several times I would say, well, why is it going to 200,000? Tell me why. Tell me why it's going to 200,000. Well,
I read many of those. I read many of those articles, and to be completely transparent, completely honest, and I wrote them all emails or little comments. Said, could you please do your column in English? That's what I wrote 'em.
Well, can you imagine if I tried to do this, and send it instead of my NBA betting angle of the day,
Yeah.
and I sent this
No.
instead to Joe?
No, well,
He'd
you
love it.
wouldn't get a lot of what's that expression? When somebody does they kind of do a second look. Probably would be
Yeah.
I would look and then I'd just disappear because I'd say, you guys got to start using more 2-letter words for me to understand this.
Well, this is the years that I've been doing this. I've been doing this as long as Marco's been breeding horses.
I'm
This
not
is the
going to
first
go
time
there.
I have ever seen a range in one day
Uh-huh.
that touched the 61.8, the 50%, the 38.2% Fibonacci retracements all in the same day.
Fibonacci.
Massive,
Yeah.
massive move today under big time volume. A lot of puking in the street. That's another technical term that we can add to our list. It's called puking in the street.
John,
Steve Merrill calls it
the guy that
capitulation.
a good buddy of mine. Okay, listen, a good buddy of mine who has pushed a lot. I think he's made a ton of money. He has not sold one. He gets up, before he goes to bed at night. Some people pray for their family. He prays that the crypto will drop so he can buy some more.
Well, I'm in that camp, Tony.
Okay.
This is a big problem right now. Short term,
Yeah.
This is a big problem. What we don't want to hear, if you're bullish, you don't want to hear tomorrow or Friday that there's a hedge fund that has to liquidate or can't meet withdrawals, whatever the case is. That's what you don't want to hear. And then this thing needs to consolidate for a while because the price action is big time negative, and it's got all those people, Tony, the tens of thousands of people are buying this on the almost guaranteed assumption that it was going to 200,000.
Well, that's something. Then they just got smarter, right? They got smarter. Than maybe it does go to 200,000, but probably not overnight. And secondly, what's the difference between this and stocks? There's quite a difference. So you're not going to buy this on options, are you not? You're not going to buy this on options or on credit. When you buy this, this is gold for coal or gold for diamonds, right?
Well, in the futures market, one contract is 5 Bitcoins.
Okay. All right.
And it is leveraged.
Okay.
It's like probably 15% down, which is very high for a futures contract. But because of the inherent risk and the volatility, the exchanges have to do that because they don't want to get stuck paying the bill.
Okay.
But these moves are, massive.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think we will retest the lows. That candle that we made today is a hammer, and when it's red like that, the market will go after those lows again, either tomorrow or Friday. And again, it doesn't always happen, but a retest would actually be healthy. And if we don't take out those lows that were made today, then you can say at least it's not going to go down to 20,000. that we may have found a temporary spot to consolidate and calm ourselves down and see what's going to happen next. But overall, the longer term, to your point, events like this are very healthy. This market, crypto needed a shakeup. It needed to get the weak longs out of the marketplace, and this flush today had to take out a lot of it. You know, Steve Merrill calls it capitulation, which is another financial term. I prefer puking in the street.
I like I like catching a dull capitulation. That's what
Well, this is a case study of catching a falling knife.
Yeah.
And this is it. This is it. It doesn't get any better than this. Trying to catch I mean, think of the people that did think they were smart in buying it at say 45,000. Well, now what do you do?
Well, you hold if you can, you hold it. I don't think I sure as heck I'm going to sell if I leveraged everything I had at 45.
But that's potentially the problem is people assumed that it was going to go to the moon, and really 60,000 was to the moon for the first attempt. It was below 3,000 at the start. What was it at the start of the pandemic?
I don't know that, but I know that the jump from September to what would it hit its peak? What was it, a month ago? Whenever it was those who see. I probably, unlike my buddy, I would have been one that would probably have said sayonara to some of that, because from September the 18 or 17 that I got some at 2 or it was, but I'm just a change jar investor in this. So
it would be interesting, and we won't waste any more time on the show here, but with the futures, and especially for your friends who probably own like 60% of Las Vegas, you can use options to your advantage, because there's a thing called option volatility, and it's extraordinarily high, and it's the safest trade in the world to do. You buy the underlying security and you sell call options against it.
Yes.
You get to keep those premiums, and the premiums are going to be astronomically large, and that protects you from further declines. And in a perfect world, you get a price rise back up to 50,000, and you write the $50,000 calls, and you get to keep both.
Okay, well, I want you to set me up with a couple of those. I'll get right on it.
That's the astute way to do it.
I'm in.
You can buy Apple stock, Tony, and sell the $230 calls against it. That gives you protection.
Right. Yeah.
And it also prevents you from selling the underlying stock and having to pay capital gains, which I'm told every single day it's going up.
Yeah, capital gains are not good.
No.
Well, I mean, they're good to have the capital gains. It's not. Run into a few times on those that I protested. And they said I protested too much. On the capital gains.
We're in trouble when they pass a law that forces us to pay capital taxes on losses.
Yes.
When that happens, then we're in trouble. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Well, then what's the use of living at that point, right?
I've never seen Rob Vino talk to his broker this long in all my life.
Well, it's a new girl. It's excited.
Tony, I can always count on you, buddy. Let's get to Ross Benjamin here and welcome him to the show.
Welcome, Ross.
He's our weekly
guest. Hey, before you go any further, John, ask Ross about Fetty's last start, by the way.
Oh, this is going to be ongoing.
Boy, listen, I'm going to send you a portrait of him, and you can put it on your bedroom wall like the kids used to do with Bobby Sherman and David
Ross. I'm sorry, Ross. I didn't know that you were live with us. I apologize.
No apology necessary.
I thought I had Rob and him muted, Tony.
Well, sorry. I'm sorry. Another one's gonna say, man, I don't think I like that, Tony Finn. I'll just have to say, well, get in line. Get in line.
I can deal with the hard time, buddy. So as long as you can, we're good.
Oh yeah, that's one of my strengths.
That and aspiring to be a fugitive.
Yes.
Gotta love a guy with those kind of dreams.
Absolutely. Reach for the stars, Tony.
The only man I know that knows every country where extradition is
Yes.
ever allowed. And does it in alphabetical order.
Oh my God.
How is everyone going, Ross?
Everything's good. I had a street puker last night with my picks going 1 and 2. Unfortunately, I had Charlotte, and that game was over in the first 5 minutes, for crying out loud.
We all did on the show too.
Yep, we were
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
We had the over though.
Well,
That
that's
didn't
good.
help.
I mean, defense was an afterthought in that game, So,
Yeah, they looked overwhelmed, right? They looked nervous,
Yes.
overwhelmed the whole shooting match.
Yep.
yeah. Indiana's a weird team. When they're healthy, I mean, you looked at their injury list yesterday. It was, a short version of War and Peace, for crying out loud.
It has been all year.
Yeah. And, Sabonis ended up playing. He was a huge factor. But, no excuses there. Sometimes, look, here's the thing. When you go up to the window and you win a game by 40, they don't pay extra.
Right.
Nobody's calling you back to pay them extra when you lose a game like that. So a win is a win, a loss is a loss. But, at the same time, you like to have something to squeeze for going into the second half, which wasn't the case.
No, I always want to win in the first minute or lose in the first minute. I'm fine with winning and losing in the first minute of a game. Then I can go about my other business instead of spending 2 hours getting kicked out of venues because I'm yelling at the top of my lungs.
Yeah.
Hey, that
We didn't have
reminds
to
me of
spend
the,
2 hours last night.
No.
That reminds me of that movie. You guys probably never saw it. It's called Moneyball.
Yeah, I saw it.
I never
Billy
saw that.
Bean. Yep. Great
How
movie.
about that little scene there where the assistant general manager is being taught how to fire players?
Yeah. Yeah.
These guys are professionals.
They were the first one. I mean, we talk about analytics a lot now. They were the initiator of analytics.
Oh well,
Yep.
So
yeah. They still, yeah.
I was
They,
telling you,
that goes back further than even Billy Bean, obviously. But
yeah.
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 But I mean, in terms of Tony, where they were finding value on players that nobody else saw, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. The sabermetrics, that's just that movie is just a pimple on what a movie that could really make on
I'm
what
sure.
what sabermetrics has accomplished. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan. I'm a big sabermetrics guy. I mean, I don't pay it. ERA means nothing. It means zero. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's a number that's issued to the through major portals and through media. It's simple. The formulas are simple. 9 times divided by. That's it.
Yep. You could, whip. I take like I said on previous shows, and I've discussed with you, Tony, whip means a lot to me. You show me a guy with an ERA of 2.84 and his whip is around 140 something. You're telling me the guy has been wiggling out of a lot of jams, and it's a time bomb waiting to happen.
He's read War and Peace and found a way to maneuver that maze with that kind of dichotomy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
then it's the other way around too. A high ERA with a low whip is a guy that's he's given up a few long balls, So you want to take a look at him when he's going against a team that has very little power, But again, it's 6 of one, half dozen the other.
I'll take it, guys. I'll take it farther the next FIP and those numbers, which I pay attention. Those are the ones I pay attention to first and foremost before ERA, whip, all this is nowadays, I've struggled a little bit already this year because of some of my charts and some of the trends aren't matching or meeting expectations or historical numbers, and that's exit velocity and miss. See, I'm one of those that I don't care until things really change. A pitcher can never be anything but vanilla unless you can miss bats, and if you can't miss bats in what has been a live ball, 19, last year and 20, although this year we don't have the run production. We still have a record number of strikeouts. We're setting another record in strikeouts and in home runs.
Yeah. I mean, the Greg Maddux of the world
They don't
are going
exist.
to be dinosaurs. Yeah, it's a
Yes, they
dinosaur.
are. You're right. Yep, they don't. They just even Greg Maddux. Listen, Greg Maddux. We all have watched Greg Maddux pitch. I like Greg Maddux. Let's go forget Atlanta. We'll go back to Chicago. I liked him when he played for Chicago. He would struggle. In that live ball, 2019 live ball. He would have said, "What?" I'm certain we would have had some post game pressers where he was cussing. I guarantee it.
He might struggle even in nowadays above and beyond that because the strike zones are pretty much tightened up compared to what they used to be.
They're not anything
if
like
you're
that.
not getting, if he wasn't getting the corners, he was in big trouble.
Although we do have Angel Hernandez.
Yeah, that's true.
We
Keeps
have
everybody
historically the most inconsistent umpire in the.
And he keeps getting postseason assignments. I have no idea why, but what do I know?
Well, because he's tenured. He's a union tenured guy there, and
you're supposed to be rewarded for being the best, though.
And you're not going to mess with him.
Yeah. Apparently not.
I know that Rob got himself a bad. I was watching your play last night, Rob, and I looked up again. I said, "Oh, Rob's going to be cussing about right now." That bullpen kicked his ass.
Yeah, you know what kicked my ass was that streaker. The guy runs out on the field. Everything's going fine. He runs out on the field.
That's Fibonacci. That was a Fibonacci groupie.
You got to put that in one of your betting angles, John.
Yeah, they tried it twice. The first one didn't work. The second guy ran out there. The next 8 guys reached base. That game went over the total in 1 inning.
Yes, it did.
The 8th inning was over 7.5.
Yes,
I think they
I kept watching.
9 runs.
I kept watching. And I said, "Hold, this is the same damn at bat. This is the same half inning."
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Generally, they'll take those guys here in Philly and they'll bring them to jail. But I guarantee they're praising that guy today. He did the job. He did the job.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh yeah, he's not. He got OR'd. Oh yeah, he's out on his own recognizance.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have to post any bail.
No more parking tickets. Nothing for that guy.
Yeah.
He's
I
in.
can't comment because I'm afraid somebody out there knows me.
Why?
They probably do.
Oh,
Yeah,
we didn't recognize you. You did well. You disguised yourself well last night.
John needed the Phillies. It could very well have been him.
Yeah, I did need the Phillies.
And the most underrated pitcher in baseball pitches tonight, who gets the least amount of run support, and Corbin Burns from Milwaukee.
Well, yeah, I would say Woodruff got that same treatment last night.
Yes, exactly. I mean, if that team could hit their way out of a wet paper bag, they'd be 10 games ahead of first place because
if they could hit their way out of a wet paper bag, they probably would still have a guy that's now pitching in San Diego. And listen, they have him, Woodruff, and let's put it. They would still have not the guy in San Diego, but they'd have. There's a couple other guys that have escaped that
rotation. Yeah,
that rotation in the last decade. Well, Greinke was there, and of course it was different. That was probably 100 years ago. But when was it Greinke won the side with him? Remember that, Rob or John? Do you remember what year?
I can look it up.
He was only there 1 year, wasn't he?
12.
Did you say 12 or 13?
That's what I'm thinking,
John.
John.
About the last decade,
right in there.
Yeah.
Well, Kansas City won a World Series. I think Kansas City can say this: we did give you Greinke, but we won a World Series because of the players we got for Greinke.
Yeah.
So
that's how it works. But
yes,
last night, Woodruff, that game last night put Woodruff as number 1 lowest run support in the Major League Baseball.
Wow, that's hard to believe because I'm looking at the numbers today, Rob, and I believe you. I'm not certainly not doubting you, but I was looking at the games that Corbin Burns has started this year. 6 starts this year. They've scored 1 run or less in 4 of those 6 outings and were shut out 3 times. So
I think they showed, and it could have been based on an innings pitch type of thing, Russ, but the numbers I saw, the top 5 this morning, Woodruff was, I think, 1.83 runs per game.
Wow.
Run support.
Yeah.
Brutal. Just brutal.
Yep.
I was on Milwaukee last night, guys. And here's the deal. I was on a -1.5 because because I know I'm on 1.5 simply because Milwaukee's that kind of team they're going to win by 2 or more.
Yeah.
Or they're just going to lose.
Yeah.
So
Well, I was with you, Tone, and I had it because I knew Williams and Hader were both available on the back end.
yeah, and I know Bubeck, the pitcher for Kansas City.
Yeah.
He looked like a Cy Young candidate last night. And this kid, listen, this kid is so average. He doesn't have average stuff. He has below. This is a guy that they penciled in the rotation, and he was so bad in the spring, they had to take him out of the damn rotation.
Yeah, but he's been really good out of the bullpen this year, though, Tony.
Well, 7 innings.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Well, 12 innings. He had 12 innings.
12 innings, right. But
Yeah.
last year, did you see, listen, they brought him up last year, during the pandemic because of some COVID stuff. And he just was really bad.
Yeah,
Bad.
and the one good start he did have was
Yeah.
5 scoreless innings against Milwaukee. So go figure.
Yeah. Well, guess what? He was good enough last night to piss me off. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're in the same boat tonight. Now they've got Burns and they've got
I know.
Williams, who only
yeah.
they're 9 pitches, and they've got Hader, who's 2 days rested now.
Guess what? I ran
And they
from
got
it. I
our
looked at
favorite-
it.
You know, I'll let the cat out of the bag. I'm already there.
Oh, I'm not.
But-
Not going.
Because pitch to contact, Brad Keller's on the other end. So
Oh, yeah. Well,
He's
guess
horrible.
what? Keller's better than Bubeck, so you're in trouble.
Well,
Well,
he's
that
got what's he got? A 12 ERA, I think, in 3 home starts this year. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Keller's the ace. He's the ace of the
the problem
Royal staff.
is that Milwaukee can make a guy with that high an ERA look like a Cy Young winner,
Well,
like
that's,
we saw last
my
night. You know?
concern.
So,
just
yeah.
it. That's exactly it.
Yeah, listen, them and the Pirates. The Pirates have a tendency to do that too.
Yep.
Detroit's listen. That's Seattle team. If you're not on Detroit tonight, $1.40 or $1.50, that was my free play today. I mean, well, how do you not take Tariq Skubal tonight? I mean, Tariq Skubal is he's I think he has a 5.6 ERA, 5.73 ERA, 1.58 WHIP in 33 innings. But tonight he might throw a no-hitter.
Yeah, even worse than that on the road he is, though. And my thing is, and I don't know how you guys feel about it, I don't like following up with a team that just their pitcher threw a no-hitter. It just seems like they expend a lot of emotion in the game and after the game. I don't know. I don't have the exact data to back that statement up, but it's just something my thought process.
When I go to a craps table, Ross, and the guy says that guy just threw 7 straight sevens, he can't throw another 7. I said I'm on the 7.
Yeah,
I'm on the 7 again because the odds are exactly the same every time you roll the dice, young feller.
Yeah,
It
but
doesn't
you
matter
know,
if you roll-
I disagree because you're talking about a 7-game winning streak, equating it to what you just said, as opposed to a team that's playing around 300 baseball this year, coming off a no hitter. So, all due respect intended,
It isn't the same thing. It isn't exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But here's what it is, and that is if you have the same lineup every night, same teams for 7 straight, guess what? Whatever odds you're going to put on that, whatever math makes that money line what it is, it's the same every single night you go to the game. It's the same.
Yeah,
Same
well,
odds.
for your sake, I hope you're right because I don't have any.
I got to find that table. I got to find
Yeah.
that craps table first.
So you're talking about no hitters and then playing the next game or the next time that starter?
No, the next game, the follow-up game, when a team's pitcher throws a no-hitter, and then the following game. Again, John, I don't have any supportive data there. I'm just,
Well, you don't have a lot. There's not a lot of data on that.
Well, believe it or how many no-hitters has there been this year already?
Well, there's been 6 here this year, right?
It's
5 or 6.
Unbelievable.
But-
What is it, May 19th? We've already seen 6 no-hitters?
Well, I'm only and listen. In 1984, I saw a perfect game. How many baseball games do you think were played between 1800s and 1994? How many total baseball games do you think have been played in the history of baseball?
I don't even want to guess.
Yeah, exactly. I
Manny.
saw a perfect game. It was only the 17th perfect game in the history of baseball.
Yeah.
And there was 25 million baseball. I'm exaggerating, but you're right. But when I say there's not much data, if we get 4 no hitters a year, what did we get on average? It's about 2 or 3. I think is what if you were looking. There you go. And it's 100 years. You got 300 games. What's that?
Do you want the answers to these questions?
Yeah, if you have that answer, I'd be curious, John.
All right. Since 1876, I have a pretty big database. 146 years, 221,031 games. We need about 1,100 more runs to hit 2 million. We've had 15,099,000 at bats. We've had close to 4 million hits, 311,000 home runs, 673,000 doubles, 134,000 triples, which is a lot of running. Stolen bases, 309,000 innings pitched. Any guess?
Well, are you going to announce the winner or not?
3.9 million innings pitched. Strikeouts, 2.3.
He's not going to announce the winner.
Of which Nolan Ryan has 2 million of them.
How many no hitters, Johnny?
How many? Yeah.
How
many no-hitters?
Games?
What?
No,
Well,
that was. Yeah, we were, but we were comparing games. We were using that ratio.
All right. Well, talk about something else. And I'll be right back to you.
Yeah. If
Okay.
if you have, if you can get the information on how a team does the following game, I would say the following day, but sometimes they have an off day the next day. The following game after their starting pitcher threw a no hitter, not the same starting pitcher, just the game after. I'm just curious.
We just want previous opponent 0 hits.
Ross, I'll give you this while John's looking that up.
Yeah.
Because I just looked it up myself.
Okay.
Because I knew I saw it this morning. Brandon Woodruff has the worst run support of any qualified pitcher in the league. So that would mean that the games Burns missed means he doesn't have the innings pitched yet. Brandon Woodruff has a 1.58 ERA, which matches his run support of 1.58 from the
All
Brewers.
ties.
That's just both of those guys should. You see how good Burns has pitched in 6 starts. He's been absolutely dominant.
Absolutely.
And they're 6 starts. Yes, yeah, and they're 2-4 in those games. So
They've made 15 combined, those two guys. It's unbelievable. And then this thing goes on to say, on the flip side, you go to the bottom of their rotation, Freddie Peralta is top 10 in the National League in run support. They give him 6.2 runs a game, Freddie Peralta.
Yeah. Where's Frankie Montas? He's got to be up there in terms of run support. I only say that because I was looking at his numbers today, especially at home. Well, I'm going to touch upon that later with John anyway.
And I'll tell you, Ross, before that he gives you the numbers on that, I know that you're referencing a letdown the following day after a no-hitter. I know this. I read some studies on letdowns from the pitcher.
Okay.
And for the most part, the study, the guy I respect that did the article, and I exchanged some emails with him, but the tail of the numbers really is real clear, and that is not only is there no letdown effect for the pitcher on average since 1950, like 100 and some no hitters, they actually pitched better the following game.
You're talking about
the pitcher,
the pitcher himself.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Not
I know you're
the
talking
team itself. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
That would have been his next start, following his next start.
Yeah.
But you always hear people say, "Oh, he just pitched no hitter. I'm going to play against him because he's going to have a letdown." But if you take the whole group as a whole, it's actually been better.
Well, when you see a guy like Turner throw a no hitter, we're seeing pitchers that aren't elite pitchers throw a no hitter this year for the most part.
We have always. How about Fires? Listen, Fires. Nobody could be more hot and cold than Fires. He's a Miley. I mean, listen. Miley just had an ERA. What was his ERA? It was double digits last year. Right?
Yeah.
So it's almost 6 with that no hitter.
Yeah.
Frankie Montas, 5.75 runs per game, run support, almost 6 runs a game.
So he's up there, right, Rob, is what I'm asking.
Yeah, he's up there. I mean, for a guy who's made 8 starts, he's up there. Yep.
If the query is correct, and I did it fast, what I did was previous opponent hits 0, then either team errors greater than 0 or walks greater than 0 to eliminate the perfect game, and previous starters innings pitched have to be at least 9. So that eliminates the perfect game, but we can put that back in. But 28 and 19 is what they are in the next game.
28-19. Well, it's better than I thought. Let's put it that way.
15% ROI.
I would have thought more.
21, 23.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes downhill from there.
Yeah.
And let's do this. And the win percentage of the team, what is their win percentage? Wait, it's under 40, right?
Yes.
All right, so win percentage under 40. They're actually 3-1.
Wow.
Not helping.
You're in good shape then, Tony, based on that.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that I'm not one that I'm not a big trend guy and I use that as an example, Ross. The guy that I'm on that table, the guy says he can't. It's like red and black. Well, there's been 10 straight reds. I'm playing black. Well, guys, come on.
Yeah, you don't bet against a winning streak. I mean, I'm a thorough believer of that. When you start going against teams that have won, and again, I'm going to go back to baseball, Tony, and I get what you're saying. You don't bet against teams that are on 7, 8, 9 game win streaks. You leave the game alone if you like the other side. That's the way I look at it.
I'm going to have to have a reason, right? I'm going to have a strong reason where, I don't want to step in front of that train. Do you? I don't.
No.
Most people don't know that I know. No. It's like you see. Go ahead.
The one thing I can tell you guys, and I might have to pick it up, is when a pitcher, let's say he's averaging 100 throws per start.
Yes.
Which is rare these days.
With Kevin Millwood and Josh Beckett being two of the case in points. And they throw 130, say, or more in the no-hitter. They may be good the next start, but it's the damage to the arm from throwing 130 when you're used to throwing 100, then surfaces like 2 starts, 3 starts after. So if a no-hitter is, say, 30%, involves 30% more pitches, then I would wait a start and then bet against the guy. And I would continue to bet against the guy.
Yeah.
That's the one that I remember. So I'll try to dig that one up.
I was going to say, who averages over 100 pitches per start anymore? I would venture to say nobody, right?
Yeah, I think I used 30%.
Maybe Scherzer.
Yeah,
there's
like that.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of medical studies.
You take Scherzer out after 110 pitches, he throws a fit on the mound anyway.
Right.
So I think Davey Martinez has second thoughts when should I go out and talk to him or not?
Well, any pitch after 90 those are the ones that do the damage.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that have the ligament is snapping back down on the elbow. And it's I think that's universally true that's usually where the damage will occur. And then when the injury occurs, it's like in kid from LA, Dustin, where it happens in the second inning and you feel it snap and then that's it.
Yeah.
But the injury has already occurred before it's actually seen occurred. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense. And the other thing that drives me crazy, and I've seen it on a couple of instances this year. I mean, one involved Garrett Cole, 72 pitches after 7 innings, and you're bringing in a reliever because that's what that's what you do. When you have the lead after 7 innings, you come with your setup man and then your closer. I mean, the art of managing before, one of the key components to a good manager in the old days was the ability to recognize when to pull and when to keep a guy in on the mound. That's sort of been taken out of the equation. And it's all become robotic. I like the analytics in the Sabre metrics that Tony's saying. I think it has a lot of validity to it. But to make it an end-all, be-all, I'm not in favor of.
It goes the same with these relievers too, Ross. They throw a guy out there the 7th inning. He gets out of it in 9 pitches, no trouble. But God forbid he pitched the 8th. We got to bring somebody else in to throw the 8th because you're not a setup man.
Exactly right.
And when you can tell the guy's got great stuff, let him run. But it just doesn't happen anymore. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, the manager that drives me crazy the most, Rob, is Dave Cash from Tampa Bay.
Right.
I mean, you know.
You talk about a sabermetrics guy. They're all he's sabermetrics to the limit. You know, so
he presses the envelope. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, this Snell thing will be go down in infamy. I mean, you know, and
they've tried to debut. Listen, I've known guys that have written columns, did the studies on these 100 pitch, trying to debunk the fact that that's not health. And in truth, most debunking that has been a failure. They've tried to debunk it, and for the most part, they've failed. That the 100 pitch, that those limits. Listen, and almost all of them can use. Let me tell you who I think. You guys remember? You remember Wood and Pryor?
Yeah.
You remember who the manager was for Wood and Pryor? He's now the manager.
Was Dusty.
That's right, Dusty, and he was old school.
Yeah,
and he would listen, and he was. You know, he was after all this stuff. Even after Pryor and Wood, he's changed a little bit. But I'll go a step further, and I'll tell you right now, the A's, even as sabermetrics guys, they were notorious for taking good young pitchers, and I mean abusing their pitch counts. Then right when they knew, when Billy knew they were about ready to be pedestrian, he'd send them to the St. Louis Cardinals. And the initials of that pitcher was Mark Mulder.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. And there was a couple more too.
Steve McCaddy, that whole 5 that came up together.
Correct.
Hudson, Mulder,
that's
McCaddy,
correct.
The whole group of them.
They pitched those. They would leave those guys out there until they were bleeding from the elbow. And then Mark Mulder was done when he got traded, and Billy knew he was done.
Yeah, the only one that survived it was Hudson. Was the only one who survived.
Hudson too. Wow, Hudson. Yeah, barely. He barely survived.
Yeah, he wasn't as good again. But I mean,
but they've tried to be. And it's the weird thing is that if you've ever watched film, guys, and I'm sure you guys have. If you ever watched film of a guy who throws 100 miles an hour, throws 95, it doesn't really matter how far. But you look at the arm during a pitch, slow motion. What happens to that tricep? It's almost twisted all the way around. It's just, it's crazy.
It's called a torque.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's crazy. It looks animated. Yeah. And so what does my brain look like after being hit that many times on a helmet straight the hell on? No wonder I can't smell anymore. And I do some stupid things when I drink too much tequila. I have an excuse.
All right, you ready for another answer?
Yes, sir.
Starting with Cy Young being the first one to throw a perfect game, there's 23 of them.
Yeah.
There are, since 1875, there are 298 no-hitters.
That's it.
Guess what's more rare than a perfect game?
I know. Let's hit for the cycle.
Combined no-hitters.
Oh, well, yeah. There's only been guess what? That study. The study. I have to do the disclaimer here, and that the study my buddy did on the pitchers afterwards. He took out any combined no-hitters. He took those out of the formula completely. And again, that pitcher's average numbers after he pitched the no-hitter. For the majority, and I'm not saying every one of them did, but the majority of those pitchers pitched above and beyond better than their average numbers following the no-hitter, more than not. Not that some didn't blow up.
Yeah, I mean, like a guy like Turnbull, how many pitches did he throw last night?
Well, Turnbull, yeah.
It was only 98. Heading into the ninth, it was 98, but he threw a few in the ninth.
So 110, 112. I mean, I'd be curious.
117.
117, which is a lot by modern major league.
There's not a whole lot of no hitters. Not a whole lot of no hitters. Less than 130 pitches.
My point being is what's his average pitches per start?
Well,
I can
going
tell you
into
that.
start. Yeah,
You really want to know?
because I don't think he eats a lot
Well,
of
yeah.
innings.
Well, you
going into
don't,
that.
you don't when you have an ERA of 10.
Exactly.
They're not going to keep you in there
I
very
mean,
long.
that's why I'd be curious to know what your buddies. You said the guy
Oh.
pitches good the next time for the most
Yeah.
part. Okay, again, for the most part being the key
Pitch
phrase.
above is done by.
when you get a
was
guy who
breakdown-
just overachieves like Turnbull did last night.
Yeah.
I mean, look, he's not even top 3 in his rotation. I don't think.
Well, did he overachieve, or did he face a team that we should be playing against right now that can't hit the ball?
Well, they
A
haven't
lot,
hit.
yeah.
They haven't hit all year, Tony. You know what I mean?
No, they haven't. That's what.
Yeah.
But Seattle's miserable right now.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I would. My answer to your question is a little of both.
Yeah.
So pitches, going in order in his 6 starts: 62, 81, 94, 80, 99, 117.
But and of those pitches, to interrupt you. Now, how many innings on those? Look, you're going to see less than 4 and 5 innings on those pitches.
Well, 5 innings, 6 innings, 5 innings, 3 innings, and he threw 80 pitches in those 3 innings.
Yeah.
99 for 6 1/3, 117. So 15 1/3 innings all of a sudden. Last 2 starts, 216 pitches thrown. 2 previous starts, only 8 innings and 174 pitches. So that's the type of stuff where.
I'd be curious to see how he does his next start. I mean, all due respect to Tony's buddy.
Oh,
and,
no.
and I'm
Well,
sure he
no.
put a lot of research into that.
And I understand some, Ross. This is as a whole.
Yes,
and listen,
I
there's
get
been
that.
plenty
I
of
get
guys that are bomb.
I get that. I get that. Yes.
And he's on a losing team.
Yeah, losing
Yeah.
team,
Yep.
below average pitcher going into that start, very below average actually. So we'll see.
And he gets 5.22 runs of support from one of the worst hitting teams there is.
Yeah.
Listen, to Ross's point, and we all of us know you can't blanket statement any of this stuff, but to Ross's point, if the guy is a guy who's generally on a 90 pitch count, and then he goes and throws
That's right.
117, you'll find a bunch of times where they'll give him an extra day's rest. He won't pitch
Yes.
on 4 days
Yes.
rest. He'll pitch
Absolutely.
on 5, Turnbull. So it'll be interesting to see when his turn comes in the rotation, do they actually throw him? Do they give him an extra day because you threw 117? We got to give you another day off. But that's why, blanket statementing any of this stuff it's all individual. Nolan Ryan's our hero, right?
Yes.
I mean, for guys who throw 100 miles an hour and never had an injury.
No, yeah, and you remember Dickey, who really got overpaid when he got that one season, and the Mets overpaid him terribly, ridiculous, right? His first name, his name was R.A. is because he had no tendon in his rubber arm. I'm joking, but it's true. He had no tendon in his elbow there, and so he was the kind of guy who could throw 150, 160 pitches. It didn't affect him.
Wasn't he a knuckleballer?
They were knuckleballs.
Yeah, he was a knuckleballer. That's why.
He threw it a little harder.
Yeah.
Yes.
And your typical Tim Wakefield or Charlie Huff, those guys threw it in this. Dickey did have a little, maybe 8 miles per hour more on it.
I think he threw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. That's what he could throw. That's
what he did.
Yeah.
He had 90, and Wakefield could throw 80 with a fastball, and between 50 and 68 on the knuckleball, and I think he was in that same range.
But
that
not fast. Let's get up there.
After seeing a knuckleball, 90's like 100.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
How about Wilbur Wood, Tone?
Wilbur Wood, an artist, an absolute artist,
right? Left-handed knuckleballs.
Yeah, I mean, tell me how many left-handed knuckleball pitchers
Right,
there've been.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, what? That's not very many.
Probably not.
How about ambidextrous knuckleball pitchers in Major League?
Man, you come up with all these big words, man.
I know.
Yeah, for a guy,
it's incredible.
He was just
I don't like
complaining he wants things simplified and
I do.
explanations on his stock.
I'm not going to make them simple. I just want them simple.
Give me 2-word,
This show.
2-letter words I need, he says.
Ambidextrous was used in the movie 61, where Yogi Berra says, Mickey Mantle goes to the other side of the plate and batting practice. Says, ambidextrous. Who was the backup catcher
Johnny
Yogi
in real
Blanchard.
life.
Johnny
Elston
Blanchard.
Howard.
Oh, Elson Howard. Yeah, that was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he says ambidextrous, and then Yogi goes, "Oh, this side, that side."
And anyway, Yogi Berra was a
Jeez.
left fielder.
He
At the end
did.
of his career. At the end of his career, he played left field, and maybe
That's
arguably
because
one of the
they had to
best
get
Yankee
Elston
teams
Howard
ever.
in the lineup because of his
Yeah.
bat. You know.
And you had to get Yogi out from behind because he kept shading the umpires. Kept getting like, what the hell did Yogi just say? We got to get him out of here. We got to get him out of here.
Hey, we got a special. This is to you, Tony. I think we're all supposed to comment on this.
I'm certain I am.
I asked Amy, who's a new viewer to the chat room. We appreciate that. Actually, yes, in response to, would you like us to break down a game for you on the card tonight? And she said, actually, yes, I would like Baltimore versus Tampa Bay tonight in MLB. I love means, and I was thinking under first 5. We're talking to an astute better already.
Yes, we are.
But the total over juice seems to be rising, so maybe I'm wrong on the under.
no, I don't.
Hell of a
think she-
question. Great question.
I don't think she's wrong. Is it who is it I'm speaking to? Amy.
Amy, I believe I'm pronouncing it Agus.
Okay, well, it may not. But listen, it could be a boy named Sue or a boy named Amy. I don't know, but we'll say this. No, Tampa Bay is slashing. You want me to give you the slash numbers? Tampa Bay against left-handers. It's pathetic. It's historic too. We get historic stuff this year. And Tampa Bay's gotten a little bit better, but their slugging percentage isn't much more than their on-base percentage against left-handed pitching. Means against the Tampa Bay lineup, Baltimore, not too much wind coming at 82 degrees at first pitch, I believe, with about a 5-mile-an-hour wind blowing out to center field. And Means pitched one time last year against a very similar Tampa Bay lineup, 5.1 innings, 12 strikeouts last year. And this was the American League champions. Yarbrough hasn't been very good. However, he had a COVID issues. He's getting his pivot point and his release point with landing foot looked pretty good. Last time I saw him, I got to Amy's point. I played under in this game, Amy. 8.5 I got, and I thought 8.5 was the best number I was going to get. I'll have to look again right now. I got an 8.5 at Penny, and right now, Penny is at 8 over 113. So I got the best number. Although there's an 8.5 at DraftKings, I don't think that's updated. I don't think you're going to get an 8.5, and I think if you can get a flat 8, or get a minus 105 or such on an 8 under, I would jump it right now.
Despite Tampa Bay's woes against left-handed pitching, the league average is 241, and it's actually 7 basis points higher than when they bat against right-handed pitchers.
That's correct. Listen, everything's down as far as batting
doesn't make
average.
it any good.
No, certainly not.
Yarbrough's been bad the last 3 times out. Tone, answer me this:
Yes.
when Tampa went to Ryan Yarbrough out of the bullpen,
Yes.
in opener,
And he's been out of the bullpen.
in
Yes.
opener fashion, right?
Yes.
It was basically for 2 to 3 innings, throw me 40 to 50 pitches. But these pitch counts and these innings that they're pushing him to now,
Yes.
to me, makes a little bit of difference in his performance results here. They haven't been great, and maybe the COVID has a little bit to do with it. But I think they're pushing that guy too much. I don't know that he's built for 6 innings, 100 pitches, 90 pitches.
Well, they knew.
see.
I agree with that, and they knew this. If you listen, Cash, he knew he had to. He spent the whole offseason and whole spring training making these openers, these guys who are not going to be the 5 that aren't the side candidates and the true starters.
Right,
He made them versatile. He brought them in the first inning. Then in the next game, the third pitcher to pitch. And Yarbrough's been one of those guys that has not adjusted great. However, he was pretty good in his 1 inning. Listen, that 1 inning, you look it up right now if you got his game log. But he had 1 inning, I think 1 inning against the Yankees last time he pitched, right?
He's only got 4 starts this year. I mean, you're referring to him starting the game?
Appearance. No, his appearance.
Oh, appearances. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a start. Let me get it for you, Tone.
I don't have it up.
Yeah. I mean, his last 3 starts have been horrific.
But my memory's not. I have.
And he hasn't started since the 30th of April. So,
But and he's not. I don't believe he's. See, someone asked me already. Is Yarbrough going to be a traditional starter tonight, or is he going to be? Is he an opener? And I'll tell you right now, it is what Cash wants it to be. And if he's successful, if he's going to keep his pitch count low, he may go through 3 innings. But I think he's just an opener.
Yeah, and you'd love to know that, Tone, because my point was I think he's so much better as an opener when he only has to see that lineup once.
Yep.
But when they're pushing him through that lineup 2-3 times, it's a different deal. With this,
Either way,
he's a reliever, right? He's a reliever. He's not a starting pitcher.
Right. Either way, to Amy's point, I played the under in this game because even Baltimore at their best, and they are at their best against left-handed. If you look at their numbers,
right,
they're still not very good. They're still not very good.
Do you know this, Tony?
Yes, sir.
Tampa Bay ranks 24th in Major League Baseball batting .216 against left-handed pitchers. However, they rank 7th.
That's right.
With the most hits against left-handed pitchers because they've faced them left-handed starters 39 times.
Yeah, that's
the White Sox.
What's since when? Since last year?
Well, what John's
season.
throwing at you is
no,
deception.
they only faced 15 lefties this year, John.
He's pulling stuff out of his hat right now.
It's got to be going back to it because I'm only seeing 15 games against left-handed starters.
Well, guess what? They're not necessarily starters. They're gonna be relievers. See, is what John's throwing at you, and he's throwing number of hits. They've had more at bats against left-handed pitchers than any team in baseball. So when you're saying they have the 7th most hits, well, that's like telling me that I get 100,000 shots at the bullseye of the dart. And I have the most bullseyes because all my competition only throws the bullseye once.
Yeah,
I can't lose.
You know,
and why do you think Chicago White Sox have only had 338 plate appearances against left-handed pitching?
Nobody wants to throw left-handed.
Because they're 24-2 the last 2 years against left-handed starters,
and they're batting 300.
Yeah, I mean
300.
If you're a manager and you got 4 righties and a lefty, I'm sitting a lefty an extra day unless I'm forced to use them against the White Sox.
And if you don't, you're probably not going to be the manager after the series is over.
Exactly right.
They're batting 364 batting average, batted balls in play against a left-handed thrower.
Yeah.
And imagine this guy doesn't have Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert, 2 other right-handers that can hit the ball 500 feet. And they don't even have those guys.
What's that tell you, Johnny? It tells you, listen, they're not making, a lot of swings and misses against left-handed pitchers. A lot of Ks.
It means when I played Minnesota, I was very lucky.
31%.
Listen,
I think it's 31% they're
here's
striking
the other thing. 24-2 against left-handed starters since last year. And 23-0 versus left-handed starters not named Mike Minor. So,
well, yeah, and you have both losers of those left-handers, you and Rob. I know you mentioned you had Mike Minor. Well, that's a bad break to get. I mean, if you're gonna, I'm just kidding. If you're gonna lose if you're gonna lose with the White Sox against a left-hander, God forbid it's Mike Minor, right?
Yeah.
Can we still talk to Amy for a second here, John?
Yeah,
I am.
Yeah. The team with the second worst strikeout rate against left-handed pitching this year, the Tampa Bay Rays. They strike out over 31% of the time against left-handed pitching. And John Means has been nothing short of one of the better left-handed strikeout pitchers in baseball this year. So not a great matchup for Tampa Bay, even though they're on a hot streak, right? Their last 5 games, they've been really hitting the baseball. But I don't know.
Facing left-handers.
I don't know that this matchup is very good for Tampa Bay. I find
they have struck out 452 times in 43 games this year.
It's not
well over 10 per game.
1,200 and some at bats.
Yeah, I mean, that's
less consistent.
Yeah.
You guys can see the chat room or not?
Let me see.
I can see it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Punch it up. Yeah.
And you can see what. Okay, so you see what everybody's saying, or just what I'm putting on the screen right now?
Just the good stuff about me.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Yeah.
That's how we're
No,
going
I
to
see
get
that.
sponsorship for this show. Tony Finn's on
Right.
it. Sponsors come flying.
Yeah, well, the dispensaries, they come running. Can we advertise on your show?
Well, it's a quick transition. I know Rob Vino's been waiting for this. He wants
What
to
is
hear my thoughts on Kiowa.
Oh, boy.
Some of the guys in the chat room here. We got Max on record here. This guy he wants to bet against Bryson like every day of the week, twice a day if he could.
Against who?
Bryson DeChambeau.
Okay, all right.
So this is a course that I have played, and there's going to be wind. Every day there's wind. It usually averages about 30 miles an hour. And at the time I played it, was the first time I played it was 20-some years ago. And I was, playing a lot of golf, and I was, 1 or 2 handicap legitimate, not bullcrap. And I went out, and it was windy as hell for me. Shot 82. Felt good about it, right?
On the front nine.
Yeah, on the front nine. I didn't even know where the 10th hole was. So I come into the clubhouse, and the guy says, or the pro says, great course, isn't it? Along those lines. And I said, oh my God, it was great, but it was so windy out there. And he looked at me like I was, eating mushrooms, and he said, believe me, this isn't wind. This is a calm day.
Where were
and
you?
I was like, oh my God, Kiawai on the ocean course.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're playing tomorrow.
Yeah.
So Max on record wants to know if I think Meathead, I wonder if he's the only one that calls him that. Meathead misses the cut, getting plus 350. I would take that bet. And I'm a positive thinking person. I want to see them all make the cut. But I don't think this course really suits him well. And if the wind is going to be 30 miles an hour, Bryson hits it a mile in the air, it's going to turn into a blimp and not go nearly as far, and he's going to have trouble. And although there's no out of bounds other than the water hazards, there's places where you cannot get your ball.
Yeah.
And you just can't. So guys like Leishman, who are from Ireland, that hit the ball low by modern standards, that's a guy I think is flying under the radar. Rob's heard me probably say this 3 times. In 1991, it was called the War on the Shore. It was the Ryder Cup. And Bernhard Langer on 17, and that's this 17th hole. You know how popular 17 is at Sawgrass during the Players Championship. This hole is going to be that. It's going to be 17 at Sawgrass on massive steroids. It's going to play 215, maybe a little bit more, dead into the wind. And there's water between the tee and the green. Bernhard Langer in 1991, when the hole was playing 185, hit a 3-wood.
And was short?
It was short in the water. And that was the shot that was heard around the world, basically, for the United States. But that was one hell of a Ryder Cup. So this is the first time they've been there since 2012. Rory McIlroy won it in 2012. He was playing a different game. Oh, he was 13 under, and I think there was only 5 guys under par.
Yeah.
I think he won it by like 8 shots. So he was in a different world. So one more question here from this Wyatt Chapman, who sees us every day, and we appreciate that very much too. Fading Kupka, again, I don't want to say a guy can't do it, but he has been not in top form. The knee problem. He may have come back too soon when he came back at the Masters, and I would lay off of him. But one bet I know you guys are going to like, and I actually sent one of those little correspondences to BetMGM, my app, and asked for a line that John Daly is going to make the cut.
Oh, we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Make the
We
odds
did?
whatever you want. Is he going to make
Oh,
it?
he's going to make it
How do you know?
because everybody thinks he's not. I'm the only person on the globe.
That answers my question.
But-
Is round 1 starts tomorrow?
Yes.
And I think I think we need to have a couple sawbucks, side wager sawbucks on this. That's what I think.
Well, it depends on what kind of odds you're going to give me, but
Whatever odds you want. I told you. Whatever odds you want, you can have them. They're yours.
Tony will fly right to Kiowa and take John Daly on a tequila spree, and
I will. Well, and you know what? John Daly would happily go with me.
I'm telling you, that's right, and he won't make the cut.
Oh no, I can tell you this on the show with David Borman, ESPN. Mm-hmm. He told a really cool story of how he got to meet John Daly. He was between the ropes, and just couldn't say enough good things about the guy. He missed the cut, and that made the time after that, I believe, if I'm reading between the lines correctly, a whole lot of fun.
A bender is what it made it.
That's a new financial term.
Yes, yeah. Well, catch a bender, a falling bender. No, I'm not catching any falling bender.
But it's nice hearing those stories because, with these pro athletes, they do one thing wrong, and it doesn't matter the degree of wrongness. It's hugely wrong, and you're basically going to be
that clothing line that John Daly came out with. Wrong.
That wasn't. Yeah, I mean the clown pants.
Wrong, John. If you're listening, wrong. Nobody wearing that stuff. Well, maybe they would. Not me. Not any of my friends. That's the one thing. It's funny, isn't it? I remember a couple things about John Daly. I remember, mammoth drives. I remember while hitting a mammoth drive, a cigarette coming out of his mouth, which made me like him even more. And Arkansas marijuana and the fields he had in his back, and his buddies with President Clinton, who basically facilitated the delivery of the marijuana. That's what I remember about John Daly. I really like John Daly. Still do. I hope he makes a cut.
You're a wealth of information, Tony.
And you know how he won the PGA, right? That's why he's in the event, because he won the PGA. It's unlimited.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you remember the story how he did win it?
The PGA?
He was an alternate. He was an alternate, I think a second alternate, got the call, had barely enough time to drive there in the middle of the night.
He couldn't pass a breathalyzer.
Well, it might have slowed him down. But he didn't get stopped. And he went right to the first tee, just like in the movie Tin Cup.
Yeah.
Pulled out the driver, and there we go. And he won it.
Monster drives.
Tony, I'm a lot smarter guy. I'm a lot smarter guy on Thursdays than I was on Wednesday the last few weeks. I could tell you that, and it's solely because of you.
I'm gonna tell you.
Is this
who doesn't want to go partying with John Daly?
Hey, Tony Finn.
His ex-wives?
Tony, that country music song that John Daly made, also wrong. Very wrong.
Wrong.
That album's wrong.
Singing that country song in that line of clothing. Holy wrong.
It's a double wrong.
So we got distracted with the golf.
Yes, we did.
But Amy wants to confirm. So first 5 under.
Well, Amy, this is what I would do. I'm not a first 5. We're about ready to spring some Einstein theories. Not even theories. Probably we'll go ahead and what are they after the theories and we prove them? What are they?
Tony's going to discover Al Capone's missing vaults.
They'll be empty. Be damn empty.
Proofs? They're called proofs.
I don't know. There's something like that. But Amy,
expose the myth.
83%. Here's the deal. Bullpens have not been as bad as they were last year for lots of reasons. Now you're still going to hear plenty of touts and plenty of guys who are sharp guys. They're still playing first 5s. I'm not buying first 5s. First off, maybe on totals, but here's the problem with the total in that one there. You may have to lay a 3.5. I'm not playing that. And maybe if it's probably a 4, but if it comes down any lower than what it is, it's going to be a 3.5. And I don't suggest you play another 3.5 first 5. I just don't do it. I won't do it. I barely play 7.5s in American League. I just won't do it. Although we see many more of those now than we ever have. Because of more strikeouts than ever before, another record-setting year. But let's look it up. What's the first 5 tonight on this game, guys? Let's look it up.
All right, buddy.
Look it up.
Let's look it up. I'll get it for you.
I still would want to know if Yarbrough is going to be used in a 1 or 2 inning stint, or if they're going to expect him to stretch out to 5 or 6 innings.
I can only say
this: it's going to be 1 or 2 innings, Tony. Tampa Bay's bullpen has been really, really good over the last 7.
Yeah, listen,
And,
Tampa Bay, the Yankees, all the that NL East, AL East, that overall, I think they're probably the best overall. If you combine all the bullpen numbers, it's the best,
Toronto's
best
good
division.
too. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4
It's a
over
4.
minus 15.
Yes, it is. It's a 4 over. If you can get a flat 4, okay. Amy, this is what I would do. If you needed that kind of instant gratification, where rather than wait 2 hours to get paid, you need to get paid an hour. Split it in half, baby. Half your investment on a first 5, half of it on a full game.
Who's this starting pitcher tonight?
Yarbrough.
Ryan Yarbrough.
Means.
All right, so
Young kid, big arm.
They're just pitching
And
him. As
he's
a
left-handed.
starter too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this.
Well, I
He's
mean,
gonna pitch-
Rob, he hasn't started since for 2 weeks now. So
We'll see, but that's
got a couple relief appearances mixed in.
Yeah.
there, right?
yeah, so
You know
I'm
what,
wondering what role are they going to use him in tonight? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? He's
Well, they have
obviously, to your point, he hasn't done well when you're asking him to go 5 innings or more.
They're not going to ask him to do that. They're not going to ask him to do that. No, but it's an opener.
He has done
It's
it
an
though
opener.
the last 3 times he started, though, Tony. That's why I bring it up.
Well, there's really. I mean, I'm guessing, Ross. These guys, you can argue with me, tell me I'm wrong, but when you're throwing an opener, it's irrelevant who you start. These guys are all they're all pretty much going to throw 1, 2, or 3 innings. Depends on how long they've been stretched out. And Cash purposely moved these guys. He wanted these guys to be the most. He knew he didn't have the same staff he had last year, pitching staff, and then he was going to have to be creative, and that's what he's done. Now maybe Yarbrough hasn't been successful pitching the first and second as he has the fourth and fifth, but it's really not supposed to under Cash's scheme. It's not supposed to make a difference. See,
Let me just say this, guys. The more relievers they need tonight, the worse it might be for them. They ran through some relievers last
Yes, they
night.
did.
Now, I usually use 25 pitches as a guideline for a relief pitcher. The innings don't matter to me at all. It's how many pitches he throws. Listen, McHugh threw 29, Springs threw 33, Kittredge threw 22. There's an 18 out of Cody Reed. Now, Fairbanks didn't throw at all, and he's probably the best arm they have in there. But if you're going to count on 5 pitchers to get you through, and you got 4 guys that threw pretty hard last night, I'm venturing to think that he wants 5 innings out of Yarbrough.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yarbrough will pitch as many as he's successful, and what I mean by that is that if he's in a jam, if he's in a jam in inning 1 or inning 2, he's gone. Why? Because Cash these guys are all ready to come in. If you pitched 3 days ago, Cash is one of those guys that's not going to hesitate to put a starter in for essentially would be a side session. There's your side session. You're still going your next start.
But to Rob's point, Tony, they utilized a lot of their bullpen last night.
Well,
Just from a betting perspective.
Well, I'm talking about, you're talking about guys throwing 30 pitches or more, 4 or 5 of them,
Well, how many pitches they used last night, Rob?
They used 5 relievers. Now, Ryan Thompson throws 4 pitches. I'm not going to count him. They used 4. They used 4.
And you understand they have 3 true starters. Okay, these 5. That means they still got 7 guys that didn't pitch last night.
They got Fairbanks, who they only use in a closer role.
Right.
Castillo, who they use in the setup role. So there's 2 because those guys are fresh.
That's right.
So you got the 8th and 9th covered.
Yeah, I think they have a 15-man rotation pitching staff.
I'm looking at and that's great, but I'm looking at Lewis Head.
Yes.
Guys that, Patino they made start last night.
Yep.
Shane McClanahan started a few days ago, so he's not going to. These are not guys. And from a betting perspective, I'm going to bet against this. And John, that trend down there is all well and good, except that 9 and 6 puts Ryan Yarbrough in his best possible position. At least what I believe is his best possible position is when he threw 2 or 3 innings and got the hell out of there. And then he's wonderful. And then he goes out with a scoreless line, and they stay under the total. But like we're trying to say here, for this year, for whatever reason, he's trying to stretch this guy out. And now they think they're ready again. I think to stretch him out. And to Tony's point, he'll last as long as he lasts. If he's getting bombed after 2 1/3, then a 5-inning under is no good.
Yeah.
But I think he's trying to have this guy become like a 5-inning guy rather than a 2-inning guy, and it ain't worked so far.
No, and I, they got let's put it this way. Cash would love to see Yarbrough be stretched out and be successful like everybody else through that staff. He's worked, tutored, mentored, trained, conditioned, but it doesn't always work out. We'll find out. There's been lots of guys that didn't work out with, and Yarbrough's again. He's got lots of pitches left in his career. We'll see what happens. But tonight, the matchups, the umpire situation, and the form of both these teams put me on the under, and that's where I am.
Well, Vic Carpazza's behind the plate tonight, correct?
Yep. Vic is good.
We're talking 26-11 to the over. Since
that's a record. That's a surface number. What's his percentage of strikes? He ranks 13th in Major League Baseball of strikes. Almost 24% strikeouts. And that is his K to baseball ratio. Again, one of the things you'll see in my write-ups is don't pay attention to serve numbers, how many overs or unders an umpire has. It's strikes to walks ratios, just like in the metrics, just like in a player. I pay very little attention. Now and also have K-zone. I have K-zone graphs of where his strikes are, and he's a guy that gives a high strike too. I will say I didn't much that, but he'll give a high strike. In this case, Yarbrough, that kind of a guy, or Means, those kind of guys they're not soft tossers. They're not going to be throwing 7-8 mile an hour breaking balls to the plate. They love to change the eye level, and if Means can get a guy calling high strikes, that's where he'll be.
Okay, question for you, Tony, if I may. What do you consider an umpire's strikeout to walk ratio?
2.3 or 2.4 is hitter friendly.
Okay, so he's at this year 20.4 to 7.3.
How many starts does he have this year?
6.
Again, that's where if a guy just goes and looks at like his 2021 numbers and says, "Hey, this guy has 6 starts behind the plate, 6 overs to 0 unders," and you're telling me he's an under umpire, I'm telling you.
To your point again, which I think this is where you're going, his career, he's 16.5 to 6.1.
16.5 what?
16.5 strikeouts to 6.1 walks.
So it's almost 3 to 1.
And it's 286 times behind the plate. So that's a pretty good sample.
Almost 3 to 1. And if you're 2.4 or better than 2.4 in that ratio, then you're in the top half of Major League Baseball, average Major League Baseball umpires.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Listen to this with Yarbrough.
I'm listening.
Or Yarbrough, whatever his name is. In the first 2 innings, Rob got me on this. When he's been scoreless through 2 innings, 15-6 to the under.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
When he's allowed 1 run in the first and none in the second, 2-0 to the over, and conversely, he's allowed a run in either inning. It's 4-0 to the over. And every other scenario, except for allowing 2 runs in the first and 1 run in the second, goes over. So if he goes 2 innings without allowing a run, it seems like that first 5 is a lock.
To be an over or an under?
Under.
If he goes the first 2 innings not allowing a run.
Right. Because that's his specialty. I mean, the guy has a niche. And as an opener, Tampa Bay rode him, right, to almost a World Series. Yeah, to a World Series.
Yeah, they did. Game 7.
He's a 2-pitch pitcher, guys. He's a cutter changeup. His numbers this year, I just looked them up. About 87%, so almost 90% of his pitches come cut, fastball, change, slider. But the difference in velocity between the fastball, cut fastball, and the change is like
9 miles an hour,
3.5 miles an hour.
That's not good enough.
It's like no difference whatsoever. Right. These guys that have this pitching profile are relievers or 2-inning openers you can't get through a lineup 2 and 3 times with that makeup as a pitcher. You're just not going to do it. So I don't know. Like you say, Tony, this kid could improve as time goes by, and maybe
Yeah.
Cash is being experimental with him until he can't do it any longer, or until it proves worthy of going on with. Maybe that's what the case is here in Tampa, because they only have 3 real starters. But
Yeah, look,
as a
use
betting
Giolito,
man, I'm going to play against this guy.
Yeah. Oh, then do it. Well, yeah. Look at Giolito, for instance, who pitched today. That's my first win for the day, right? Giolito has not been. Well, here's the deal. He
But
is
we know
a
he's got
two-pitch
some.
guy. Oh yeah, two-pitch pitcher. He's been a two-pitch pitcher, fastball, changeup,
Right.
and some of his struggles this year have been the fact is he's throwing a lot less. He's introduced a slider, going from 14% slider to 25. He wants to pitch more sliders, and if he can, here's the deal with the sliders, fastball, changeup, much like you just described, and that is, you can't. He's been pretty easy to time this year, and it's because he hasn't been very effective with that slider, and he's been tailing it. But I will tell everyone listening right now that look what he did today. That's what you're going to see from Giolito. He's going to get better and better and better.
And he's got the mileage difference, and he's got the stuff,
Yes,
because they
yes.
couldn't lay off that changeup today. I watched the game, and
Yes.
they know it's coming.
That's right.
I mean, Nelly Cruz caught him. Nelson Cruz caught him and hit it over. his
Nelly
midfield.
Cruz has owned Giolito when
Right.
Nelly was good, and I said, don't worry about Nelly. And Nelly can't even swing a bat. He went deep.
Yeah, he caught
He
him.
owns Giolito. Yeah.
But the rest of that lineup couldn't lay off, and they know it's coming. So
Yeah.
that guy's he's got starter stuff.
It's going to be better, and Giolito's going to be bet. I promise you, if that slider's working, he's nasty. He's a nasty man.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, statistically, you'd say he's the 4th best starter on that staff, when in actuality, stuff-wise, he's probably their number 1. So that's
He's their ace. Yeah,
Chicago.
you're right. Look at that Boston start. 1 inning, 7 or 8 earned runs. Take that start out of his starts this year, and he drops to about a 3.4 ERA, 50 to 50 strikeouts to 14 walks. Those are elite numbers.
Stuff La Russa can't do
I
up.
got to disagree. I think that Carlos Rodon, right now as we speak, is a better pitcher.
And I'm listening. I like to listen.
Yeah,
And I would say, coming out of NC State, he was touted as the better. I mean, he had
he was really highly touted, Rob.
Until the injuries, it was, my nephew actually played ball against him in Raleigh. And, I would talk to him a little bit. He'd say, this kid is absolutely – and then you watch him at NC State in the College World Series, and you see what the kid's talking about. But he's certainly, now that he's healthy –
Yeah,
and so
that's
far
the key
this
word
year,
right
he's
there.
doing
He hasn't been
he's doing
healthy.
the job.
Yep.
Rodon just has command issues. And that takes you away from being elite, in my opinion. So, I mean, you look at the last start he had. I remember watching him, and 5
wasn't
2/3 innings, 110 pitches.
Yeah, he wasn't
When
great.
you're throwing, huh?
And he
What's
also
that?
strikes out a lot of guys, which that also adds to that pitch count. Between the two, which you said, Tony, and the strikeouts. So
He needed 28 pitches to get to the first that Rodon did. So that makes
I saw that.
Rodon's a good pitcher. He's a good pitcher.
Yeah, it bodes well for Chicago to have a lefty-righty combo like that. I'll tell you that. Those
absolutely.
guys are,
Yep.
I mean, when I say I think he's a better pitcher, I'm not saying that there's a big disparity between the two either.
Right.
It's just that,
No, they're the anchors of that staff, and that puts them in playoff contention immediately in a short series when you got two like that, if they can maintain.
Yep.
We're probably yet to see the best of Rodon because I believe he had. I think it was May of 19 is when he had that TJS, and typically they get TJS. I don't even need TJS. I'm gonna have velocity 3 miles per hour, and I'm gonna be a better pitcher.
And that's a proven fact too. So,
yeah, right.
And it usually takes a full 2 years to recover.
Oh
from
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
So,
usually it's command too, guys.
Yep.
It's usually command that's the issue.
Yeah.
So what happens when Kopech comes around and they got 3 of these guys?
Well, here's what happens: if they can figure out how to be smart, because they also give Tony La Russa a brain transplant, they're probably going to be world champions.
Yeah. I mean, if it adds 3 miles an hour, Kopech threw 100 miles an hour before he had the surgery.
Jesus. Jeez. No, Tony. I give Tony a lot of credit for going in front of that mic and saying, "Man, I'm not very smart. I don't even know the damn rules for extra innings, and I'm the manager of a team." I said, Tony, I have that much more now respect because I was ready. I would have fired your ass in the first 14 games.
That long, huh?
14 games. I'm not with him on his, on his old school chewing out of Yerman.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Oh well, listen, I kind of like that. I like it when a manager says, "Listen, come over here, get over my knee, and then put your hand over here because first I'm going to take a hammer to your hand, and then I'm going to spank your ass." I like that. I like it.
You like bringing in the
Wow. I like Marshall. I like
mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah,
I like martial law.
Bring back
Martial.
Billy Martin.
Right.
Yeah.
One of my favorite managers of all
Bring back
time,
Earl
by the
Weaver
way.
so I can smoke in the dugout too.
Same
please.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
You guys know there's two NBA games on tonight. Do you guys know that?
Oh yeah,
There
we always
is,
know
yes.
that.
There's one
Yeah.
easy game. There's one real easy one.
They're called play-ins.
Where's Ski Profit?
I was waiting for him to show up, but
He's vaping somewhere. He's vaping. He's got the life. The life of Ski.
Who said there's one easy one?
Tony.
I don't know. Somebody back there. I don't know if it was on my left shoulder or my right shoulder. One of them.
I want to rule myself.
Could I ask you what the easy one is?
The one that's the blowout.
Okay. We're not going to get a direct answer, as always.
The Lakers, easy. Lakers, easy. I was waiting for Ski to come on because I wanted to see him. His pupils would have got about this big, and he probably would have got a hard on when I said Lakers. By the way, because he loves.
well, they're pretty well supported by this little betting angle. Bet on favorites 3.5 to 9.5. Favorites coming off an ATS win. Both teams have winning records between 51 and 60%, which Steve Merrill loved, by the way, because that tells you that they're not contending teams, but they're equal caliber.
Yeah. It's a little bit misleading with the Lakers, though. I mean, they're not they're not in that parameter if they're healthy, So anyway,
true, but I can make a case that actually makes them worse than a 60% winning team because they haven't played together. And that's my whole contention with the Brooklyn Nets, who, believe it or not, are from Brooklyn. And they are going to get smoked by the Sixers.
Oh, I'm smelling home cooking on this one.
What, the Lakers?
No, Philly.
Oh, Philly's, they're number one seed.
I just smelled your breath. It smelled like some home cooking when you were mentioning Philly.
June 10th, my good friend and pal Rob Vino informed us that the Wells Fargo Center in South Philly is going to be at capacity.
Yeah.
So, as we were talking yesterday with the pathetic referee,
You'll hear any of them. You got to wear masks. They'll be
oh
muzzled.
no! You haven't been to Philly enough. Dwight Howard led the league in technicals, and I'm totally convinced it's because the refs could hear everything.
Well, I
now they won't be able to hear everything.
Yeah. Well, okay. Less technicals means more wins for the 76ers.
I think there should be a bet too that everybody said the Patriots cheat, and I always thought they were the only team that ever cheated. And then Tony informed me that college basketball is just awful. But what do you think the over/under, or yes or no, would be that Belichick will continue to wear a mask on the sidelines so they can't read his lips in sending plays in?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know the answer to that. I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know the answer to that, but I do really enjoy watching baseball highlights of all these guys that are still putting their glove over their mouth because they don't want anybody to read their lips. And I want to yell and scream. I say, "Hey, dude, you got a mask on. You don't need to put your glove over your mouth anymore."
I thought it was because the catcher was drinking.
That's possible.
That's what I thought.
They could be. Yeah, they may not want the manager to smell the Quaaludes and the Jim Beam on their breath. And Jim Beam just got a free plug. Bill him.
Yep. Well, I guess that's why people like vodka, because it's
Yeah, that's what they say, but
yeah.
I'm from a Russian family, and I know different.
I think we just lost Ross.
We did?
Yeah.
Ross got pissed. Ross?
First guest that never got a chance to do his free pick.
Man.
But he did.
Well,
He did do free picks. He did a lot of work. Oh, he's
Ross?
back.
There he
I
is.
hit the
There
wrong
he
button.
is.
Sorry, guys.
I figured he's like shut the camera down and start flipping me off or something. I don't know.
He saw the mic. He saw the mic button.
Wrong
And,
impression, Tony. You're my man.
No, you too. Listen, Ross, I enjoy being flipped off too, just so you know.
Well, that's okay.
I used to walk around saying, "Listen, I haven't been flipped off today. Hold on just a second. I've got to do something to get myself flipped off."
Listen,
So-
you don't last this long in this business if you don't get flipped off. You know, you're
I
doing
agree.
something wrong. You know,
You're doing something wrong if you don't. That's correct.
Exactly right.
Right, you're right about that. I agree with you. You put it. Listen, give Rob one of those little Ohio State stickers and put it up in his window next time he's. What do they call those Buckeyes? Whatever they put those. What are
those stickers on their helmet? Yeah,
I like them. I got to have some stickers. We need to come up with a John Vegas show sticker. And when you're right, you get a little sticker on your. You get a little sticker on your screen.
If that was the case, I'd put them on your forehead for all your accomplishments.
oh, you could put it on the bumper of your car next to on the proud parent of an honor roll student.
There you go.
Car? What's that?
That's
They
the
don't
thing
have-
that you
they
get
drive.
in. You get in it and you drive 400 yards away from your house, and the red
That's right.
sirens
They
come
pull
up.
me over.
That's
They send me back home. They say,
Yep.
no, Tony. Yeah, you're way too far away from home. Get your ass back home.
So, what do we think of the other NBA game, guys?
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, we got a team that's played pretty well down the stretch, and another team that's lost 10 of their last 12.
Yeah.
and that would be the San Antonio Spurs.
That is
So
correct.
you have a losing record team and a winning record team, and the winning record team's at home, and they're only favored by 4.
Yeah. I discovered something yesterday. I mean, again, there's not been a lot of teams in NBA history that have made the postseason with a losing record. And obviously, I don't know if this is a qualifier because now you're extending it to 10 teams instead of 8.
Yeah.
But teams in the postseason with a losing record are like 31 and 145 since 1990.
There's been a bunch of those Eastern Conference Philadelphia teams
Yes,
that made
exactly
the damn playoffs
right.
with less than 500
Yeah.
records.
So, I mean, based on that and the short number, yeah.
He's
Boy,
talking about he has it mixed up with the NFL.
Oh yeah.
The NFC East has a lot of win percentages below 50 and make the playoffs.
Do you count, John? When you factor
Yeah.
in these betting angles, are you counting this as a postseason game? I mean, it's a play-in tournament. You know,
It
something-
counts in my eyes.
Yeah. So, I mean, based
Do
on
or
that,
die.
teams with losing records they've been abysmal at playoff time. So,
What's
and
happened to your point, Ross? The truth is, we have the other game. And truth is, Golden State's only 39, 33 or something like that.
Right,
What's the
yes.
Lakers record? It's not. It's
No, it's not. I mean, again, John, that's a skew a little bit, right, Tony?
yeah. I'm
And
listening.
to John's point, you could look at it the other way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I've been looking at are the Lakers capable? Listen, here's the deal. I've been looking at Golden State's last month of play.
yeah.
Just call it 10 games if you want. Offensive efficiency down. Wholly dependent a lot on Curry scoring 40 points. Are they going to blitz? What do you think? Are they going to blitz Curry tonight?
I mean, they're 6-0 straight up in ATS in their last 6, to your point, Tony. But again, who did they play?
Oklahoma City twice, Utah, Phoenix,
Yeah.
New Orleans, and Memphis.
And then we also talked about on another show, if I recall, I think it was this one, that when Anthony Davis and LeBron James is in the lineup, it's
Right.
not so much the offensive output. It's they're a heck of a lot better defensively.
Oh,
You got
they're-
a lockdown defender that could guard the perimeter, and you got a guy in the middle that alters shots and blocks shots. I mean, I'd like to know their numbers, their defensive efficiency numbers, John, if you can find that, with both of those guys in the lineup compared to without both of them or without one of them in there.
I can tell you some things quick
And
on the
you look
fly
at
here.
the total, it's gone down from 222 to what, 218, Rob? You know?
Yeah,
It-
looking at a
it's-
lot of 218s.
Yeah. So
In that scenario alone, Rob and I talked about. Listen, first off, you're going to see totals bet. It's rare you're going to see a total in the first game of playoffs go from. They're going to climb north of the opening numbers.
And both of these
They're gonna go
haven't.
south.
They've gone the other way, right?
That's exactly what they're going to do. Most of the time, they're going to go south.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that's the way they're going to finish. Obviously, we talked a little bit about that yesterday. In this case, the offensive efficiency for Golden State is not been good, and maybe it's because who they're playing. Like I said, New Orleans twice, Oklahoma City twice, Utah, Phoenix. New Orleans actually 3 times.
Yeah.
And-
New Orleans plays matador defense and has been all year.
Right.
So.
And listen, when they did lose to New Orleans, they scored 103 points against New Orleans. And New Orleans won scoring 108 points.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be playing under, my point to this game is everything adds up to, first off, there isn't, other than Philadelphia, there's not a team in the NBA that makes offense more uncomfortable than the Lakers.
Yep.
I mean, they make it brutally uncomfortable. If you watch it, it's like I don't even want to. I don't want to play against them because they're making the game I love and less fun. It's brutal. So if they're going to play to a 215 or a 220 total tonight, and that's the number, then they're going to blitz. Then basically, the odds makers are saying, "Listen, it's first off, I think it's a tough cover. Then it's be a tough cover at 5.5. I think it goes north of that, but I don't think they think much of Golden State and their offensive prowess tonight."
Well, Money thought a lot of Golden State, right? I mean, this game opened 6.5, goes to 4 immediately. I mean, I remember coming on with you the other day, John, and saying that at that 4 was LA was so grossly undervalued at only -4. I mean, that's when I bet it, and I still think they can cover 5.5. But getting away from what Ross was saying about how good LA becomes defensively, that front line matchup is a nightmare for Golden State. Anthony Davis, Andre Drummond, and LeBron James. And when it's not Andre Drummond, it's Marc Gasol. Golden State doesn't have a guy as big as any of those guys. I mean, Kevon Looney is their big guy. Wiseman, when he was available, hasn't played in about 3.5 weeks. Was a rookie who was playing decent offense, but not a lot of defense. Golden State, in my estimation, if you're Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr has said time and time again, we got to bank on our defense. We got to bank on it. Tonight's not the night to bank on your defense against this team, because if you want to get into a defensive scrum with the Lakers, you're going to lose 100-82. He's got to try and run. But Los Angeles knows what the job at hand here. Listen, not having Kelly Oubre Jr. hurts Golden State. True number 2. I mean, Wiggins has been okay as of late, and maybe Wiggins can be a number 2, but
he can't do what Oubre does in the paint, though.
Yeah,
absolutely
Oubre,
not. Yeah.
It's a big loss. It wasn't a big
it is.
loss against, when they were making that 12-3 run to end the season, right? And Tony Ross, you guys ripped off a bunch of the teams that they played. They're all lottery teams. But without him now, here's where you find out that bandwagon that started 2 weeks ago with, oh my God, Los Angeles is going to have to play Steph Curry. Oh my God, Los Angeles is going to have to play Steph Curry. And it continued and continued till it got down to 4. And now common sense has brought it back to 5.5. Maybe some of that 4 was a lot of people who thought, oh my God, they're listed as questionable, James and Davis. So we got to injury chase and bet it down to 4. And
that was my first impulse, Rob, when I saw that line move. I thought somebody, one of the two were out.
When LeBron is listed as questionable, I read something, correct me, when LeBron's listed as questionable, he plays 90% of the time.
And let's add this, guys, real quick, because we hit on this yesterday. It's got nothing to do with fundamental handicap of the game, but situational. I think it matters. Los Angeles, LeBron James has proven a lot of things in his career, and now he gets a chance to prove one more. I can be the only guy to come out of a play-in tournament and win an NBA title. I think they're motivated.
Without question.
They're motivated as heck. All the talk is about James and Davis, but let's not forget Dennis Schroeder came back last game. He's their best perimeter defender. He's their best point guard. They had no point guard for a while because Alex Caruso was in and out of the lineup too the last week and a half or so. So they're whole now. I don't see it with Golden State. Steph can beat you on any given night. Don't get me wrong. He can beat you. But they're going to have to shoot a hell of a lot of threes. And I just don't know that they can play defense against these guys. If I'm Frank Vogel, inside, pound these guys to death. Anthony Davis, Andre Drummond on pick and roll dunks. James to the basket. I mean, I just don't see it with Golden State. I know the bandwagon and the narrative is cute, but if LA doesn't win this game and cover this number with all their guys, there's something wrong here. And Los Angeles has another thing real quick, guys. I saw the highlights this morning. I had forgotten about this game where they were ahead by 19 points at halftime against this team in one of the meetings. And Golden State came all the way back and beat them. And that sticks. You know, LeBron hears all this talk about Steph Curry MVP right now. He's a guy who hears everything. He's got rabbit ears, and he's a sensitive dude who takes it all to heart. I'd expect them to be highly motivated.
Yeah, and you got to look at the other factor, too. I mean, if they lose tonight, they're going to play the winner of the Memphis-San Antonio game.
Right.
Yeah, they could win that game, but it's a difference between playing Utah and Phoenix. Now, Phoenix had a terrific year, guys. You know, they haven't made the postseason since 2012. You know, to me, there's something to be said for that. This is
a better matchup too, Ross, because Phoenix doesn't have the interior, much like we're saying about Golden State, DeAndre and nothing, where you're playing Rudy Gobert on the other side and a crew of 3-point shooters, 5 of them that I can think of off the top of my head that can shoot lights out on any night. So there is a difference between
it goes to your urgency point. You know what I'm saying? So
I think we talked yesterday about Phoenix. I'm not saying there'll be a pushover because we talked yesterday about their ability to take care of the basketball. Yeah. The assist to turnover ratio, which John Ryan loves, is second to none. And Chris Paul they're going to be a tough out, but it's a better matchup for LA.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not making light of Phoenix as far as what they accomplished this year or how good a team they are. But if you're going to sit down realistically and say, who would I rather face, Utah or Phoenix? No disrespect to Phoenix, but I'd rather play you. You know, that's the way I feel anyway.
Real quick, guys, tell me what you think of this, because there's a lot of this. I tell you what, I thought of it right away. The Clippers lose to Oklahoma City the other day. Oklahoma City, a team trying to lose intentionally for the last 2 weeks, and they were in that log jam with 21-win teams. They really didn't want to win a game, but the Clippers just wanted to lose more the other day. They lose, and it put them where they felt was in the bracket where the Lakers aren't. In other words, there's a conspiracy theory out there that they were ducking the Lakers. They don't want to be in that bracket. But if the Lakers get the 7 seed, they're in the Clippers bracket. And I just wonder if the Lakers don't want to be there for that reason. They ducked us. Let's get in that bracket. Let's go kick their ass and get that over with. I don't know that any of it's true.
I think that doesn't matter. A little bit too deep.
It doesn't matter because if it happens, I believe it. This is the biggest soap opera. Again, next to NASCAR, anything is possible in this league. Anything.
Well, you know, Tone, the guy taking the heat for it is Tyronn Lue.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Who, and again, if you believe these writers, conspiracy theorists, whatever.
I'm one of them.
A directive from above, from Ballmer, avoid the Lakers let's get them in the championship, Western Conference Finals, not before then. It would have been a first-round series, right, if they had finished 2-7 or whatever, and the Clippers avoided that, or 3-6, however. So I just like the Lakers on a fundamental basis. All the other stuff is circumstantial, situational.
And guess what? I'm always one of those that I don't care who I'm playing. If I'm the coach, bring on the best first. You got to beat them at some point. Bring them on. Bring them on when I'm fresh. And that's when I want you anyway, you know. I'm not going to try to get to the finals. I'm not going to try to get to the Final Four on a Monday night based on who I face just so I could be there on a Monday night. I agree with you, Rob. Listen, I don't think that LeBron James for 1 minute thinks that they're going to lose that they're going to lose this championship. He doesn't care. I mentioned the other day, I told you, I said a month ago, I was going to say there's not a chance in hell that any of these teams that come out of this playing game are going to advance past the first round. Oops.
Yeah.
Friggin' Lakers are in they're in a playoff game.
I just did an article on that. It was a sign to me. Is there a team that could actually make noise in coming out of the play-in tournament? It's like, who wouldn't think the only team that could do it is the Lakers? I mean, look at the other 7 teams or whatever there is.
I didn't think they would be. When I said this, I really truly didn't believe they would be in that play-in scenario. You see, so it was easier to say. I really truly believe there's only 4 teams that can win this championship.
Yeah.
So
Tony,
I agree.
what odds are you going to give me that I will bet that the Lakers don't advance to the first round?
What kind of odds would I give you?
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want. Really, whatever you want. But here's logic.
I think that's the value bet.
Do you think so? I'll make it.
If there was one,
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you 1,000 to 1. And your maximum bet's $1. That way, I only lose $1,000 if you're right. Because guess what? There's nothing more painful than losing more than $1,000 and having listened to it for 5 effing years. That's the painful end.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I mean, is it possible? Yeah, it's not probable. I mean,
I guess if the big 2 go down in the first 5 minutes of tonight's game, maybe.
Right.
And I shouldn't even say that because I think that's I think that's just not a good thing to say. It's like I'm not wishing ill on anyone, but I don't see it, Johnny. I mean, what odds do you want? What odds would make you push in? I was pushing some crypto.
As the host, I was just thinking that if I'm sitting in the chat room and I'm hearing all this bullish fever on the Lakers, what if I was a guy that was a Clippers fan and wanted to see them eliminated?
Yeah.
Well, then you would probably have to hire. What's the guy's name that Nancy Kerrigan beat up on?
Jeff Galooly.
Yeah, we'll go get Jeff Galooly and we'll take him after. We'll say, hey, see those guys right there, the big tall guys? Go get them.
Now, I just got word from a good source, and I think this is hysterical. Okay. In the PGA Tour event, which is the PGA Championship at Kiawah Island, John Daly is listed as probable. Like,
you mean probable to play or probable to make the cut?
No, probable to play.
Drink before he hits the first tee.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Depends how many taverns there are around that country club.
I've never seen that.
What, probable?
Yeah, not in golf.
Well, no. What probable to do what? To play?
To play, period.
Yeah,
well,
just.
So what's the odds of him hitting the ball off the first tee? Because I'm in. John will find a way to. You just explained how he made the tour, not just won the PGA. It's how he probably that event made John Daly who John Daly is.
Yeah, it is.
It's his 15-minute moment, and he lived it and he milked it like a true artist.
Hey, he won the British Open twice.
Well, yeah, but see, he always was capable of winning. It's just those days when he's coughing up blood and he couldn't get the ball in the tee that made it pretty tough to believe he was a professional golfer.
So here's what I'm taking away from today. Tony is aspiring to be a fugitive, and John Daly is his role model.
My buddy.
And John Ryan knows that there's a PGA Tour injury list. I
didn't even know there was one.
Yeah.
Where do we find that, John?
I don't know if there's actually an official list. This is just listed on the blotter of the tee times that he's listed as probable.
Get Rick on the phone, Tony.
I don't know,
Rick
but
and tell him on that line service that he needs to add the golf injury list.
There is no questionable. You're either O or nothing.
Please forward that to me because I think that's a quick article, real quick. Hey, listen, guys, breaking news: John Daly is probable.
Right.
Well, if you go to
people are going to read it. They're going to read at least the first few sentences, and I'll make it interesting.
While we're still on Well, we're still in the air. Go to the DraftKings and go to the golf, and you should see a P after his name, and then hover over the P.
That means puked. That means already done. Don't have to worry about it anymore.
No, if you hover over the P, it says probable. So it just has to be true.
I'll be darned.
That'd be the new guy. Hold on.
So yeah.
He'll be doubtful as soon as Tony arrives on Kiowa Island.
I think it'll be. No, we'll get. Listen, he may drink, but
Oh
I'll
my
have.
God, I've never seen that.
I'll have the other stuff. Get him going. Get him right.
Yeah, and he's listed as 6,000 in DraftKings, and that's the lowest
to make the cut
price.
or to win.
No, let me finish. 6,000 to put him in your lineup, and that's the cheapest possible price. That's the lowest you can go in DraftKings. Nobody has confidence in him.
Well, if they gave drug tests to all golfers before the matches, the only guys who would make my roster would be the ones that came up dirty. Only ones that would make my roster. It's the ones I trust. Okay, now what am I looking at? PGA.
Yeah,
And if
PGA
I punch
Championship.
I'm at DraftKings. Do I need to go somewhere else? Because the PGA it did not let me in. It's saying no entry for Finn.
Oh, that's kind of odd.
I'll go. Well, no, it's not. I'll go to the sportsbook. How's that? Do you have to log in? I don't have to log in, do I?
No, you shouldn't.
Okay, good. Okay, done. Okay, I see it. That's not right. That's not right. Okay, okay. As soon as I write this article, you know that the P is no longer going to say probable. It's going to say it's going to be changed to an S, and then when I link it to it and I write it's going to say sucker. That's what it's going to say.
Well, he's sporting a beard.
Oh. How about he's not wearing his line of clothes, is he?
They're not showing it. Oh boy, this is not looking good. Wait, I'm going to do a screenshot. I
saw an interview with him the other day. That's not just a beard. That's a mountain of hair.
Well, he is a hillbilly from the Ozarks.
He looks like one now, Tone.
He is from the Ozarks, man.
I know, but he cleaned it up a little bit for the tour a few times.
Well, I think so, yeah.
His appearance.
He's grandfathered. He doesn't have to. He can wear shorts, smoke cigarettes. He's grandfathered in.
The people want that anyway.
None of these bullshit rules for John Daly.
Here, I'm loading it up.
Audience gets larger.
Just take me a second to
If you don't have Tiger, you might as well have John Daly, right, for a viewing audience.
Yeah.
Oh boy, this is the boldest thing I've ever done live on air.
There he is.
Santa! Hey, Santa's here! Where's the reindeer?
It's a poor man's Billy Gibbons.
Yeah. I think that he would make a perfect member of ZZ Top.
Yeah, exactly.
He looks it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, he looked. I'm quite certain that ZZ Top has done at least to quantify it, probably 1,000 more times drugs than John Daly's ever done, and they look better than John Daly. And he is wearing his line of clothes, by the way. Look at the shorts.
Those are beautiful. I got it. Only you could get away with wearing those, Tony Finn.
And I don't. It's not horrible. Those are not as bad as they used to be. What I saw that line of clothes, man, it was like, wow, John's gone from drinking to LSD. Look at these line of clothes.
I've crossed the line, Rob.
Yeah, that was
I like that. You become a reporter.
I do classify these shows not fit for children.
Right, we need.
They're
YouTube.
not fit for adults.
Well,
for the most part,
there's a question on YouTube, and it's a good one. Do you produce any shows for kids? And I always click 18 and older
because I do not want to be responsible for. I'm already responsible for things. I'm already held responsible for things I'm not guilty of. Okay, Yes.
What do you think the odds are, Tony? The odds that a 5-year-old would look at that picture and immediately say Santa.
They did. I yelled Santa as soon as I saw that son of a bitch.
Oh my God!
More handsome version of Rob Ryan.
Well, he's a
Now-
beauty, too.
Now more than ever, I believe it's on CBS or whatever network it is. Now more than ever, could you imagine the ratings if he does make the cut?
Well,
yeah,
are you?
that's what I mean.
That's Tiger Woods area.
Right.
That's what that is.
That-
That's what John
that-
Daly was anyway. Let me ask something. If Jack Nicklaus were to play and make the cut, and John Daly were to make and play the cut, who are you following if you're at that course? It's certainly in Jack Nicklaus. I'm behind John, baby. I'm following John. And if that were the case, and if I was there, I would go down to the pro shop and say, "Listen, I need. Let me see what I got. I need $300 worth of John Daly, his line of clothes, and I need to use the restroom and change."
There you go.
It's like the beginning of Caddyshack. I'll take 2 of these, 3 of these, 4 of those.
Oh, Caddyshack! What a movie! Caddyshack 1.
Right.
Caddyshack
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, I didn't know there was another one. It's kind of like Major League. There was 2 of those, and that was it.
Oh, Major League 1 though. That bunt scene is classic. It's a classic scene.
That's a great little league play. Ran it a million
it's
times.
Classic.
Million times.
You know what, guys? Speaking of bunt and classic and John Daly, it's time for me to either take a break and hit the pool bar, or shut you down and go back to work.
You just noticed that we're coming up on 2 hours?
Yeah, I said I meant to tell you that I only have an hour.
Move on as well. Jim.
I only have an hour today. I can't do more than an hour because
I
have my wife
Sign
told
us
me
off,
that
John.
you have work to
Sign
do.
us off.
So, best bets, Ross. You're really good and efficient at this.
Come on.
First 5 under in the Tampa Bay Rays game. We are on the Lakers. We are on the Lakers under. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. And we are on under Memphis, San Antonio, I believe, right? Or not?
Who's that?
I'm just trying to recap
Well,
our best
I think
bets.
our
Did I make it
rationale
better?
was for it to go under, but I don't think that was
No,
a true pick.
I
I know that
I
Tony
haven't-
didn't like it.
I haven't signed off on any of that.
Yeah.
All right. So, first 5 under Tampa Bay is a pick.
Oh, I do like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I like
Rob Vino, do you have a single game or?
I'll commit to the Lakers. I love
Okay, I'm on that
I
too.
commit to the Lakers too. You want to give you the whole damn
Yep.
card I got right now?
Yep. And then we had Bryson DeChambeau doesn't make the cut at plus 350 from our chat room, which I take full responsibility for. And we don't have odds on John Daly making the cut, but he's going to. Is that it?
No,
throw something out there.
I'm waiting for Ross to say something.
Here's what I got. Okay, and I want to get. I know I'm going to raise the hairs on the nape of Tony's neck with this.
But you're in a good position because there is no comments now after this. You say what you say, and we all have to live with it.
Astros at the A's. I talked about it earlier, and Rob confirmed exactly what I was implying. Montez on the mound for the A's. He's 4-1 and his team starts at home, but that's very misleading because if you look at his numbers, his whip in particular, not very good. He's been bailed out by a lot of run support from his teammates, and he's going to be facing the A's are going to be facing Zach Greinke tonight, and I don't think that they're going to get a lot of run support tonight. I only say that because Greinke's been his last 4 at Oakland has been absolutely dominant. Also, his road starts this year, he's been real good, and this is an Astros team that has scored 5 runs or more in their. They banged out 10 hits or more in 5 of their last 6. And they're averaging 8 runs per game in the 5 they played in Oakland this year. I like the Astros here, minus 113 with Greinke over the A's with Montez.
Nice.
Love it.
So A's, Lakers, first 5 under
Astros.
Tampa Bay.
Astros.
Oh, Astros. That's right. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And then the Lakers minus the points, first 5 under Tampa Bay, and that is it. So, Tony, you get back to work as soon as possible. And for Rob Nino, Tony Finn, Ross Benjamin, and myself, may all the wins be yours.